everybody. We are here. It is the Mediavine Summer of Live. I am Jenny Guy. It's Thursday, which means we are here together. I'm so glad to be back with you this week. Last week, I had our wonderful co-founder and my colleague, Amber Brace Girl, filling in for me. I actually, I had to have my gallbladder removed last Monday, and my marketing team named it Felicia. So we were saying bye, Felicia. And I was prepared to go, but I was also still on some pain medication. So it would have been a very interesting broadcast. But Amber killed it, and Leah and Christine were amazing. So I'm so glad you guys were here with our travel bloggers. But speaking of amazing, fierce lady bloggers, I have two of them with me right now. I have Audra Fullerton, the baker chick, and I have Brandy O'Neill from Nutmeg, Nanny. Can you guys say hi, everybody?
Hi.
Hey, ladies. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and start out and have you guys introduce yourselves. So talk a little bit about you, where you're from, where you are now, your family, and your brands / blogs.
All right, I guess I'll go first. I'm Brandy. My blog is Nutmeg Nanny. You can find me at nutmegnanny.com. I'm originally from the grand state of Ohio, so I'm a Midwest girl at heart. And I now live in New York, sort of the Hudson Valley region, which is about an hour and a half north of New York City. So that's me.
Fantastic. And Audra.
Hi, I'm Audra. I'm actually originally from, I live in Chicago now. I'm from Milwaukee, but I lived in New York City for 10 years and just moved to Chicago 2 years ago. And in addition to the blog, I stay home with my two kids who I just like shoot out the door with my husband 2 minutes ago. And my blog, I've been doing it for about 8 years. And Baker Chickens started out mostly desserts, but now I just pretty much blog about all food that I like to cook.
Awesome. Okay, so both of you have been, and Brandy, you said 8 years, Audra, and how long about you, Brandy? How long have you been blogging?
I think about 9.5 years.
Okay, so both, we are like definitely veterans. I knew you both were, but I didn't know we were approaching the decade mark. That is amazing, guys.
I'm a grandma.
You guys in this industry, yes, that's the way it is. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in with, we'll talk a little bit more about building a brand in a second, but I'm going to go ahead and jump in with a question that was huge in the Facebook group that I've heard asked over and over again. You guys have been blogging a long time. How do you continue to come up with new ideas for content when, especially in a field like food, where it can sometimes seem like everything's already been done? And both of you can jump in as you want and conversate with each other.
I think, go ahead.
No, you go.
I think that a big thing for me was just letting go of that need to be totally original all the time. Like, if someone else has already done something and I really want to make it, I'm still going to make it. Like, my blog is about what I want to cook. And I think there was a period of time where I would feel very stressed when I would Google an idea and be like, oh, it's been done 5 times. But for me, it's just really not worrying about that and feeling like if I'm excited about something, I'm going to write about it and my readers will like what I have to say and it's still okay. So that was big for me.
Awesome. Brandy?
Well, I think for me, it's a couple different things. One, I have a really good core group of friends who together, when we feel stuck, we bounce ideas off of each other. And I think that's super helpful. And we all, in my group of friends, we all do a tiny bit different types of blogging. It's all food, but one's a little healthier, one's this, one's that. And I think it helps to bounce ideas and say, like, this is the product I have to use, and I am clueless about what to do with it. And together we bounce ideas back and forth, and I think that keeps things really fresh. And it also gives each other ideas that maybe we just couldn't come up with at the time. And of course, there's always things like going on Pinterest and being inspired by other photos. By that, I don't mean going on and copying what else I see, but sometimes I can see a photo and I'm like, oh my gosh, that would be great with chicken. And then if I use pasta instead of, rice, and then, for me, that's just like a huge sense of inspiration. Also flipping through magazines.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'll go to the library and just get a pile of cookbooks and magazines and just take notes and like, oh, this looks good, and make my own adaptation of stuff I see.
One of my favorite things is anytime I travel to like a different country, I pick up food magazines.
Oh, nice.
food that they make there sometimes can be a little bit different, or they just have different combinations that I might not have thought about. So I always joke that every time I go to London, I come home with like $70 worth of magazines that I buy. And they're still sitting on my coffee table, and my husband's like, "What are you doing with all these magazines?" And I'm like, "They're my inspiration.
It's my job. I read magazines. Suck it, husband. Suck it." Okay. All right. So you guys, you talked about having that core group, and I've heard that said at so many blogging conferences, to find your tribe, to find your people. And there are all those Facebook groups out there with so many bloggers. How did you find your tribe? How did you find your people?
Well, for me, it was like we just started talking one day. One person that I'm really close with happens to live near me, so that's helpful. Other people, it was like you just meet them once, and then maybe you start chatting or you text about something, and then you just don't stop texting. And where you are talking every single day. So I think it took me a while to find people that I genuinely want to talk to every day.
Yeah.
I like most bloggers I meet, but I don't necessarily want to talk with every single one of them every day.
True. Very, very true. And Audra, how about you?
I can't say that I have like a group like that in terms of in the blog world. I mean, for me, when I've met people in person, like I met Brandy a few years ago, and I'm someone that connects way better in person than I do virtually. I feel like my personality is much better in person. It's just easier for me to engage. So conferences have been a huge way that I've made friendships, but I think that it's easy for me to connect with other bloggers who are going through other things in life that I'm going through. I feel like being in the throes of young children in my life, it's easy for me to kind of bond with other people who understand that. So I feel like it's kind of turned for me to be more of like a group of moms that I chat with. Some of who are bloggers, but some not. And like Brandy said, actually, I toss them a lot of food ideas, and they're not even bloggers, but it helps a lot for me to ask people who are actually kind of my demographic, my readers, a lot of moms and, people cooking for families, and say, okay, which one of these things would you be most likely to make? Or like, I'll ask them, does this sound like what it looks like? Does this name sound like, and that really helps me to have that. But I think conferences, I love conferences for that. I love connecting with people in person for sure.
Totally agree. So talk a little bit about, now that we're on that, and guys, we've got a bunch of people in here. Everyone's saying hi and giving love. We love all of you as well. Heart to you. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask. I've got some that we've gathered from all over the place, from Facebook groups, from different places. But if you have questions for Brandy or Audra, feel free to come on in. So I'm going to ask you this. We mentioned conferences. What conferences are you attending these days? Either one of you. Let's start with Audra. What conferences what have you been to lately? I know you have small kids, so that's a little challenging. But
conference in a while. My last conference I've been to was Food Blog Forum in Orlando, which I wish they would do again. Okay. But I'm so excited that the Mediavine conference will be in Chicago next year, because I would definitely be there. But yeah, we moved, moving cross country, and my kids are 2 and 4. So the last few years have been difficult for me with that.
Sure.
I'm hoping that now that life is slowing down, I'm going to be back on the conference circuit in the next year. So.
Well, yes, you mentioned a really great conference, the Mediavine conference, which will be next year in both Austin and Chicago. Check out our website for details. What about you, Brandy? I know you're on the conference circuit.
Well, I went to Mediavine. I actually don't go to a lot of conferences because I find that I get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And, my personality doesn't always shine as I'd like it to. But I did go to the Mediavine concert. It was like conference. Gosh, I think
we both go to the big potluck. We went there a couple times together.
Oh my gosh, yes, that was one of my favorite ones. But that's just because it's not really like it's so small.
And just very casual.
And like everyone cries.
Nice.
Everyone cries.
Yeah.
By on a circle.
I'm going to try to set that as a goal for our next conference, is just how many people I can make cry. Just a lot.
Could probably work on that.
Good. Perfect.
Yeah. Just a giant cry fest. Everyone
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. I mean, I think that cathartic crying is good. as long as it's not like legit sad crying. So that's good. Like, so smaller seems to be a theme for both of you in terms of what you're looking for in a car. You like that intimacy, right?
Yeah, I get completely overwhelmed if I go to a conference and there's 5,000 people. What's going to happen is I'm going to show up. I'm going to probably shut down, or I'm just going to talk to the people that I came with, and I'm not going to want to talk to anybody else because it's like I'm like a small infant. I'm overstimulated and I'm going to shut down.
And just go suck your thumb in a corner.
Exactly. I'm like, I have to go now. I'm all about like intimate gatherings. I would rather go to a much smaller, either conference or retreat, something like that, than go to these super big organized conferences, because I feel like I walk away with not a lot of information and with being more overwhelmed than actually, happy that I went there.
Those big conferences can definitely have that FOMO thing where it doesn't matter what you do or how much you are currently doing, you're not doing the right thing, you're not going to the right class, you don't have the right tool. And I think that it can have that if you don't go in with a very much like, I am me and this is my path and I'm walking my path. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna jump real quick. Steffi just said Brandy O'Neill, infant grandma.
Basically,
she has that. It's a good one. All right, so let's talk a little bit. Oh, go ahead, please. I didn't mean to interrupt.
You're lucky I'm not wearing my house coat for this book live. It's being washed, or I would have worn it.
Houseboat.
I would be so happy if you were to wear that to the next Mediavine conference, to wear your house coat. I'm
becoming a golden girl as we speak.
Cool.
I think that there's no better transition to be going through, and I congratulate you on that.
Yeah.
So. Well, wait. Okay, important question. Which golden girl are you?
What are they?
Audra, this is coming your way too, so be thinking about
it. I'm a Dorothy in the street, a Blanche in the sheets.
Oh my God! Right.
What more could you have?
I'm not qualified to answer. I don't feel like I am. I know golden girls, but not enough to like cast myself as one.
I think she might be I think she might be a rose, from what I know.
Like home.
I think you're a rose.
I don't think
sure.
you're a Blanche, I'll tell you that much.
No,
I mean, she could be. Now let's not get too intimate here. We don't know what goes on behind closed doors, and we can't judge.
Vermont together once, and we had some convos, so she might be able to cast me.
Hey, all right. So if you're watching, post in the comments which golden girl you are. I would say I think I'm a Sophia. Maybe. I don't know. It's tough. I don't know. It's hard to say. Okay. Oh, Courtney has a question. Courtney Odell wants to know. Hi, Courtney. She wants to know, what ways are you finding useful to inject personality into your site and on social? She says she's terrible at that. I disagree. And she needs to find ways to do it more.
Well, for me, I just decided that I think I got caught up about a year ago in this idea that I had to have the perfect online presence. So my IG lost all actual personality. It was just my food, which is fine. But I felt like you wouldn't know who I was just on my Instagram by looking at food photos, except that I really liked food. So for me, I said, screw this. I'm not going to go for the curated look. I'm not going to go for just the food. I want to be me. So I jokingly said, I'm going to go back to using Instagram like it was intended, a mix of everything. I want people to know what I'm up to. I use Instagram stories a lot because I feel like it's the best way to connect with people. I don't shy away from sharing embarrassing things. I talk about everything. Just because I want people to know I'm a real human being. I'm not just someone who only makes food and takes pictures and then, just does it every Monday or every Tuesday and Friday. I am real. I have struggles. I laugh at myself. So for me, I just want to be honest. And I do walk the line a little bit. I'm not as outspoken on my blog as I want to be, because I don't want to turn off, certain like brands.
Sure.
But I don't necessarily hide some of my feelings about certain, political views or things like that. But I mean, if you follow me on Instagram stories, you are going to get all me all the time.
All Brandy all the time. Awesome. Okay, Audra, how about you?
With it a little bit too, to be honest. I split my Instagrams a few years ago because I felt like once I had kids, I felt like I didn't want to, I felt like I just felt too muddled to have everything in one. I didn't want people to be forced to like look at pictures of my kids who didn't want to. And I think I took seriously a few comments I got that was like, is this going to become like a parenting page now? And I just wanted to separate them. And I felt like if I had my own Instagram that was just my name, I could really do whatever I wanted with it. And if you didn't want to follow that, just follow the food one. So I get what you're saying, Brandy. I actually am striving. I'm trying to find a way to make my official Baker Chick Instagram have more personality because it has none right now. I just did my first live where I like made something live and I got really good feedback from it. Everyone said, oh, it's so nice to see you and like actually see you, who you are and do these again. So I think that's something I'm going to do more is just like go live while I'm cooking and just, people seem to really like that. They like to tune in and kind of follow along what you're doing and then save it and watch later and make it with you, you know?
Yeah, I think that, yeah. Oh, go ahead, Brandy.
No, I was just going to say, I feel like people really like it when you interact with them. They feel like they're your friends or that they know you. And I also always have this thing where if someone meets me in real life, I want that to match the personality that they see online. That's really important to me. Because I've definitely run into people who online and in real life do not seem like the same person. So I'm like, I want to be.
For sure. And I think that in terms of people who've been able to maintain their brand and continue being successful, you guys, if you're not you, I feel like it would be a lot harder to try to keep that longevity, because how are you going to keep that mask up for years, a decade? Okay, so Courtney Odell says that she says she's funny on her personal page, but she aspires to be more like Brandy in every way on her site pages. Jenny Field says, I love your Instagram, Brandy. Also, Lester says hi. I don't know who Lester is, but I want to know him now.
Lester is the best cat in the world. That's all you need to know.
Oh, I feel like there are many people on the Mediavine team who would be up in arms about that best cat comment, Brandy. You've thrown a bomb, and be prepared for the fallout.
Absolutely.
Amber says that it's her favorite when you Insta story after a few adult beverages, Brandy. That would be Amber Bracegirdle, co-founder of Mediavine. Hello, Amber.
That's right.
Okay, so let's jump to this. Let's talk a little bit about photographies. It's one of the most obviously perennially discussed factors of food blogging. People talk about it all the time. People have questions about it. They want to know how to do it better. Tell me a little bit about how you developed your strategy and your look for it, and how did you learn?
I think it's trial and error. I'm sure that Brandy and I both will say that if you go back like 8-9 years or however long, our photos were just awful. I think that's just how it start. Otherwise, I don't trust you. I'm like, if your pictures weren't bad when you started, I don't trust you. It's just like seeing what looks good, trying new things. You upgrade your equipment. And for me, it's like finding the spot in your home with the best light and knowing how to use the light you have. I'm still always trying to get better. I feel like I'm always critiquing my work and wanting it to get better and better. And I feel like the only thing that helps me is to go back a few years and look at some old pictures and be like, oh, okay, well, I have really improved. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So mine was obviously horrible at the beginning. It was full on a small point and shoot in the kitchen with flash on a paper towel, making food that just wasn't appealing. I have a cake that's drizzled with some stuff that does not. I don't know if there's like under 18 people watching this, so I won't say what it looks like, but you know what I'm referring to.
We all know.
And then I started taking the photography part a little more seriously. I started getting into it a little bit more. I started actually paying attention to kind of what other people were doing. I didn't want to copy other people, but I wanted to figure out necessarily like how they set up shots, what they were doing. And for a long time, I struggled with finding something that I liked because I thought maybe I was wrong. I would look at some people and they would have all these props in the photo and it would look gorgeous. And I would try that and it would look muddled and ugly. And I thought, and how I like to take photos was just plain, just a plate of food. And I was like, oh, it's too boring. Other people have all these things. And then I realized, you know what, this is my style. My style is simple. It's a plate of food with a napkin, maybe a fork. It's not tons of stuff. And for a while, my style was a little bit darker, and now it's much brighter. And I'm always changing things up. I'm always improving and going back. And I always joke that I must actually be an artist. I say that jokingly because I hate everything I do, which is true. Every time I take photos, I'm like, these are trash. Like, how could I think that these are great? But then I go back and I look at them a week later and I'm like, oh, they're not trash. Like, they're nice. You know, it's hard. Photography is hard. And I agree with what Audra said when she says, I do not trust anyone that doesn't have ugly old pictures on their blog. Like, don't come into this game knowing how to take photos. Get out of here. You got to start ugly.
I think that that's definitely, and seeing that actual photographic evidence of your progress is pretty nice. It's got to be satisfying. So how did you guys, other than trial and error, are there any courses you can recommend? Is there anything you specifically did to up your game with photos?
One big thing that was, I feel, a game changer for me was purchasing some of those wooden backdrops that a lot of food bloggers use. It just really took the guesswork out of me trying to find something that really looked great consistently. I don't have, my dining room table isn't good for that. And I know like there's Erickson Woodworks a lot of people use, and then there's the other one that I just ordered from. I don't remember what it's called. Brandy, do you know what I'm talking about?
Is it Woodville?
Yeah. Woodville.
Like from Russia, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's the one that I use.
And they're reversible, and so you can pick, like a nice distressed. And I tried to make them for a while, and they never looked good. And this was really just a nice hack for me. It was like, I know I'm going to have options. I have like 3 or 4 options I can use. That definitely made a difference for me. And just upgrading my learning from other bloggers. What's a good baseline? What's the bare minimum? And then from there, you slowly just get a better camera, a better lens as you work your way up. And that makes a big difference too.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. I can't remember what the question was.
Perfect. Good.
Beverages now.
This is like so many relationships that I've been in, and
I just feel like you started talking about backdrops, and I was like, oh, I love backdrops. And then I was like,
something else that helped you with photography, like classes or things.
Like if you took any courses.
Okay, yeah, some backgrounds were nice. So the biggest thing is I held off doing anything. Like I held off shooting manual. I held off using Lightroom for so long because I was like, no, I don't need that. Like, I'm fine. Everything I do is fine. And I think it was because I was scared to take that plunge because I knew that it would like actually force me to study and learn. And I just really hate learning new things. And I don't like reading directions or how to learn. Like, I'm always like, if I can't get on Lightroom and figure out how to do it, then I don't need to do it, which is stupid and dumb. Like, you can't just hop onto these programs and be like, oh, I can figure it out in a minute. So it was taking the time to actually invest in myself, which is really hard for me to do sometimes because I'm just a real complainer. And I did take a couple in-person photography. There's a girl named Eve, I don't know, Adventures in Cooking. I don't know why I'm blanking on her name. And Carrie, they had these. Yes, thank you. They had these photography courses. We met her when we were in Vermont. Sorry. She had these photography courses, and she had one in about an hour away from me, and I couldn't go, but I went to the one in Cape Cod. And it was a very, very small gathering. I think there was 8 or 9 of us. And it was just all about photography for 3 days. But it was very loose. It was like we would just get together and shoot things and test out lenses, and they would answer questions. They would talk about the process in Lightroom. And then there's always like something extra special she did alongside. So we also made cheese. So like any weekend where I get to drink wine, eat cheese, and talk about photos is okay with me. But the thing that I remember is coming back and being like, holy shit, like I'm so inspired. Like all I want to do is take photos. That's my cat.
What up, cat?
Hi, Tobias.
Oh my God, Tobias knows what you said about Lester, and that is not right.
He's a punk.
Okay, all right. Maybe he's used to your sass. Well, that's so I have a question for maybe for Tobias in a minute, but Steffi asked this, and then I've got another photo question. So Steffi Predmore, our director of influencer marketing, wants to know, how do you not lose your mind having to set up and tear down your photo setup every single time if you don't have space for a studio?
It's annoying, but it just is what I'm used to. I've never known any different. And I think that I don't know. I haven't known any different. It's just what I always do. And I can't even leave mine up for more than a minute after I'm done, because then my kids want to touch it and be all up in it. So I usually like find a window to shoot during nap time or whenever. And then the minute I'm done, I have to put it all away. But I shoot in my kitchen. So it's all, the food stuff can go right into the sink when I'm done, and the backdrops go into our mud room. So it's not that big of a deal. I don't know any different. I'm assuming it's the same for you, Brandy?
Yeah, I've never known any different. I don't have a studio. This is my dining room that I'm in. And right there is like this blanket that I keep on the edge of my table. And this is like a big tile that I have there that I sometimes shoot on, but then I set my other backdrops on top. And the reason I leave it there is because it's super heavy. But I just kind of leave it set up to right over here. You can't see it, but I have a bunch of boards stacked in between my desk and a wall. And it's just what it is. I don't have an office. My dining room is, half my office. My house is relatively small. It's like 1,100 square feet, maybe. So I don't have an office. So my dining room is half an office. And to be quite honest, my husband and I never eat at the table. So that's not a problem. And I can easily move it if I were to host some dinner party, but that rarely happens. So,
yeah, no, you got to do whatever works. Like that's the way it is. You make it work. So George Bomer, who is also watching, asked us, she is struggling with shooting her cold desserts like popsicles and ice cream. And how do you guys do it? Do you have any hacks? Do you have any special?
I saw that question. I always like to shoot popsicles on a tray of ice cubes.
Yes.
Because then you have a bigger window, obviously, before they melt, and overhead, that looks really nice. Ice cream, some things I've been doing is buying ice cream cones and like putting 3 ice cream cones or 1 in a cup if you want to get like that drippy cone, and always starting with the ice cream like really frozen so that by the time you're ready, and for ice cream, I always test the shot without the ice cream in. Like I get everything ready, bring the ice cream, and when I'm finally getting it, it's at the perfect like melty stage. Is what normally works for me.
Yeah, you have to work fast is the first thing. Like you can't dilly-dally when it comes to ice cream or popsicles. Something else that I have known that a couple people have said that what they do is they try to make their ice creams and popsicles in the middle of winter if you live somewhere cold.
Oh.
So they'll get them ready and they'll just set them outside while they're like setting up their shots, and it gets cold while like they're doing stuff, and it's just typically colder than the winter, than the summer. So I guess if you're super organized, you could do that. I don't roll like that. I'm lucky if I have it done a week ahead of time. But that's an option if you're one of those super type A, I got everything, my life is planned people. Other than that, though, the ice tray works, freezing the glass, scooping out ice cream onto like a wax paper and a sheet pan, and then keeping the scoops frozen.
Mm-hmm.
Like while you work is another option. But honestly, the best thing that you can do is work fast, unless you want to, I know there's tricks that you can use fake stuff, but I'm assuming that we're all like talking about real ice cream. And if that's the case, work fast or be comfortable with a couple drippy shots because you're probably going to get them.
Those are usually the ones I like better anyway. I like the first photos, they look too perfect. Like ice cream looks more appetizing when it's melty, I think.
Agreed.
I agree. Sometimes you have to mess the shot up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like it doesn't need to look perfect. I set it up and I'm like, okay, this looks perfect. Now how can I dirty it up a little bit? How can I make it someone has actually been eating here or someone is going to eat here, instead of just looking like it came out of a magazine, which can get a little boring and kind of sterile, and no one wants that.
One thing to note about like the question of being challenged with ice cream is, there are definitely things, and Brandy, I'm curious if you agree with this. There's things that I cook that are delicious and wonderful that I shy away from because I still struggle with photographing them. And there are also things that I choose to make because I know this is a very photogenic food item. I know I can get a good shot. It's like easy. And sometimes it's stressful for me to, it happens a lot with certain savory foods that I'm like, this was a great dinner. I would love to share this, but it's hard. And so I think that I have to go to my comfort zone sometimes and try, and sometimes it works out. And other times I end up not sharing something because I just can't make it look good. And
yeah. Like casseroles are the worst. They literally look like a 9x13 thing of slop. And I'm always like, oh. And I look at other people and I'm like, God, they nailed it. Like, what am I doing wrong? But they just tend to be very brown. And I mean, yeah, you can sprinkle parsley on it, but it's like putting a pig on lipstick on a pig sometimes. I'm like, this is not a pretty dish. And then sometimes I still share it and I'm like, listen, it's not the prettiest, but I swear to you, it's good.
I've done that too. Just trust me, guys. Just make it. Don't look.
I know. I'm like, please bear with me. It looks hideous. I tried so hard, but it's good. I also hate making lasagnas and stuff for that exact reason. It's so much work. It's like the perfect timing of, will the cheese still look melted but the center be set enough? Because if you wait too long, then everything looks cold. And I'm like, I cannot win. So I agree with you. Sometimes I just stick with things that I know will look nice.
That's tough because casseroles are the best. They're like the bomb diggity. They're my favorite things to eat. Lasagna too.
I mean, I'm from the Midwest. We grew up on casseroles, but
yeah,
they photograph like crap sometimes.
They are a face only a mother would love, which sucks. Okay, moving on a little bit. Carly Dan Bittner has a couple questions. First off, she wants to know, we're hitting into the Facebook territory. When do you publish new content to Facebook? Is there a certain time of day that you found new posts get better engagement?
Well, if I have a new blog post, so I post old stuff throughout the whole week at different times, as well as other people's content throughout the week. But for new posts, which always go live for me on Tuesdays and Fridays, those are just the 2 days that I've picked. They go live at 6:50 a.m. on Facebook. And the reason that I do that is I do have a VA who helps promote my posts and things like that. And I find that if they're just up in the morning, it has that good boost all day. I'm hitting the people who are checking early in the morning, the East Coasters, I'm hitting the West Coasters, and then hopefully, people are picking it up, when they get home from work, if it's still in the feed. And then I usually also try to, about a week later, also try to re-promote that if I can, just at a different time to hopefully hit people who might have missed it the first time.
Audra?
Qualified to answer this question. My Facebook is, I don't have a schedule like that. I kind of just, I share a new post on the day. I do whenever I get a chance. So that's just the harsh reality of life right now.
No, and that's totally cool. I think that it can be so, and I run our social media for Mediavine, and it can be so tempting to start freaking out about your reach all the time. If I can't sleep at night, sometimes I'll just go through our insights and lay there and just scroll through and just try to figure out Zuckerberg, why, what have you done? What is happening? And I feel like it's not worth it. It's not worth it to sit there and obsess about it, in my mind.
I feel if you only have a certain amount of energy you can put towards your blog or your work, there's so many things. And right now it's I feel like there's only so many things you can focus on. And right now, Facebook is not the number one thing. So I don't put as much effort towards it. And there've been times where I have put more, and sometimes it helps, it makes a big difference. And sometimes it doesn't. As you said, the algorithm is inconsistent. You don't really know. So
yeah. If you make any type of headway, they will take it away from you.
Until you pay them.
Yeah. You will never, ever win that game, because the game will always lose.
So I'm going to go ahead and follow up with Carly's question and then potentially circle back on this. So she wants to know, how far in advance do you start posting seasonal stuff? She says she's starting to post fall stuff now. Is she jumping the gun?
I saw that question and I was thinking of an answer. And my thought on that is, I try to think of myself not as a blogger, but just as a cook, as a consumer, as a parent, like someone who's cooking for family, and think about what I'm interested in right now. What kind of recipes do I see on social media that instantly have this light bulb of, oh yeah, I should be making that. I just saw peaches at the farmer's market, or I have tomatoes in my garden. And so I always want to think of what's useful for people in this moment. If you post something too soon, you're going to maybe think, oh, that looks great. I'll think of it in a month, but it might get lost. So it's difficult to think this way, but you have to really, for me at least, I try to focus on, I think of myself as just a normal person, not as a blogger. And I think of what I want to be cooking, and I try to do that for my readers. Someone always said you need to be useful. So I try to be useful. Everyone has zucchini in their garden. Everyone has stuff they're trying to use up. What's in abundance? What is everyone looking for? What kind of recipes are going to help people, use up that summer produce? Or I look at when like fruit picking is, like apple picking, when does that start? When are people coming home with like barrels of apples they need recipes for? And then they go on and they say, oh, perfect, I needed that. So that's kind of what I do. For me, this is a little early for fall. Like I don't start posting fall until probably when apples start becoming in season is when I would want to have them, like right then. And it's probably like a week before. You want to have it right when people are realizing that they have apples. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you have to plan a little in advance, but not too far in advance to where you've gotten yourself out of the seasonality of the produce or the.
It's always hard to get it right, like perfectly, but it's helped me a lot to just think about it as just like as a cook, as as someone who cooks food for people.
Brandy?
Yeah. Okay, I wouldn't be posting fall stuff right now, and I think you're gonna have a debate with anybody. I mean, there are people who are sharing Christmas stuff right now, and it makes me want to cringe, because I'm like, I don't want food bloggers to become the like Walmart of the world, where it's, already Christmas stuff in stores. Like I went to the Dollar Tree and they had Christmas bags, and I was like, you have got to be kidding me. For me, I mean, I agree with Audra. Like, I'm not looking at pumpkin recipes right now. I'm looking at peach recipes. I'm looking at sweet corn recipes. It's not helpful for me to see a pumpkin recipe because I'm not going to make it right now. So, it might give you some interaction, but I don't necessarily know if anyone's really going to do anything with it. So I would rather if I'm going to take my time to share stuff or schedule things or have my my little VA, like my VA, help me, I'm not going to have her wasting time on stuff like that. It's like, I will tell her, like, go through my old stuff within the same month, or and share things that look seasonal, that look, like what people want to be making right now. And sometimes she'll come to me and be like, okay, listen, I see tons of people sharing fall stuff, or whatever, do you want to test something? And sometimes I'll throw something out there to like test to see how it does. And I find, and again, this could also depend on your audience, my audience really just wants to see what's in season now. They don't care about getting a jump on the holidays. And honestly, it's July. I don't want to see Christmas cookies. I don't even know.
When you have archives, it makes it so easy that even if I'm behind schedule for apples and I don't have anything ready, I have 8 years of apple recipes. I can share something, and then it really helps me in this phase of life where I'm not always on top of things, but at least I know that I was on top of things a few years ago. So I have plenty to share from. And I think, like you said, Brandy, you're always sharing older content. And I think that it takes away from the stress of it to know that your readers, sometimes they never saw that old post. I had a post go viral at Valentine's Day that I posted last year and no one cared about it. And I was kind of bummed. I thought it was great. This year, everyone noticed it. And I think it's important to remember. I do forget about the old posts sometimes. Just
yeah, I also say, like, whatever you make. So if I make a Thanksgiving stuff this year, I don't expect it to be popular this year. I expect it to hopefully be popular next year. because I'm posting Thanksgiving stuff maybe 2 to 3 weeks ahead of Thanksgiving, and I feel like most people probably already have their menus made out. Not everyone, but I feel like a lot of people already have their menus made out, or they've already divvied out to which family member is bringing which item. So I try to promote old stuff, in the year of, because I think like that's had more time to be on Pinterest and things like that. And it's just, yeah, listen, if you want to post fall stuff now, go for it. It's just, I'm not. Does your audience respond well to it? If you're getting a bunch of comments of people being like, I can't find apples right now, or XYZ. I mean, everyone can find apples, but then maybe step back and start, sharing what's in season. It just depends on your audience and how they react to it. Mine isn't especially isn't welcoming to out of season stuff. They kind of like the in season aspect of what I share.
So Carly was saying, I'm sorry, real quick. She was saying she's a new blogger this year, so she was saying, should she be prepping? And I think definitely yes, be prepping content for fall.
Think of your ideas, maybe make your schedule, and a few weeks plan to have them posted. Some people like to make their recipes a few weeks before they post. I'm pretty good at just like cranking things out and getting them edited and published relatively quickly. So if you're someone that is wanting to like get your posts made now for a month from now, then yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So for me, I mean, not all the time, but when I'm feeling especially organized, I love making an editorial calendar for like 3 months. Like I'll make 3 months. I will put out all of the days that I post, my Tuesdays and my Fridays, and I will come up with 90 recipes, basically. Not 90 recipes, whatever, like 90. Come up with 90 recipes. Who the hell am I?
Used to.
I come up with whatever, how many. And I write them all out and I go through my stuff, and then that helps me stay sort of on schedule. And of course, those things get moved around if I get a sponsored post for something and one idea might get changed, this, that, or the other. But I do like sitting down and doing that. That's, in fact, one of my favorite things to do is like to do like a 3-month long editorial calendar and figure out like, okay, now I'm going to do September. And I come up with tons of fun Apple ideas. So I love prepping in advance for stuff like that because it helps me stay on track. And if I don't have a lot going on, summer tends to be very slow. So I can catch up a bit for fall by doing that, by coming up with ideas. But in terms of like sharing it with my audience, I'm going to wait a little closer to fall.
We've got on here, so I'm going to kind of jump in. So we've got Jenny said Pinterest says 30 to 45 days before. She said she's tested this and it really works. So she said, wouldn't that make fall content in August? So she's saying right now it should be football, back to school, and camping. Amber says from an SEO perspective, the sooner the better, so the post can get indexed in time when searches are higher. And Shirley says she always has folks visiting several of her Halloween posts in July, so she schedules those for the super duper organized plan ahead folks out there. I think we're kind of getting a little bit blurred in the comments and the questions between existing content and new content and how that's being pushed and scheduled forward. That's what I'm reading from the comments. Ladies? I
mean, here's the thing, like, if in the end, do whatever the heck you want to do.
Yeah, if it's working for you, if your readers are responding, you have to do that. That's just not really, it's not in my wheelhouse right now to be that organized. And you asked earlier about what inspires us for new recipes, but I'm really inspired by what's in season and what is appropriate for the time of year. And it's hard for my mind to go there. I'm still really inspired by late summer, the summer produce, and that's where my ideas are now. So.
Yeah, and there's still like this cranky old lady part of me that's like, I want to enjoy my tomatoes and my sweet corn, and I hate the fact that in August it's done with and we're talking about pumpkin. Pumpkin is the listen, I like pumpkin, but can we get over it already? It's the same way I feel about IPAs. Like, it's the worst part about beer to me. I freaking hate them and they're everywhere. And I kind of feel that way about pumpkin. Like, people just freaking freak out. They're like, if you do not post 25 pumpkin recipes in October, load. And I'm like, I'm so sick of pumpkin. Like, and I do it too. I mean, I play the game. I make shit out of pumpkin.
I love pumpkin. I'm not sick of it, but I don't like it in August. I'm not.
Yeah, no, I love pumpkin, but I don't want it when I'm sweating. Like, no, I should not be sweating like crazy when I'm eating pumpkin.
I think that's my problem. I get more judgy because I'm like, God, can you just enjoy the sweet corn? There's plenty of time for pumpkin. It ain't going anywhere. But that's just me. Like, I'm also kind of a judgy bitch sometimes. So like,
well, everyone is different, and everyone's a different kind of blogger in terms of what they need to do to feel like they're on top of their blog and their life. And I had to let it go a while ago where I felt really a lot of pressure to be doing things ahead. And it's just, I want to enjoy, it's not going to come across as authentic if I don't actually enjoy what I'm cooking and eating and all of that. So yeah.
For sure. Okay. So homeboy Dave Fox wants to know, he said, hey guys, just jumped on this call, wondering how your blog traffic breaks down, i.e. various percentages from different platforms, i.e. Facebook versus Pinterest versus Google organic versus AdWords. So I was actually going to follow up with a question on that too, because when you said, Brandy, Facebook, you're never going to win, how do you win? Tell me how you guys win getting a sustainable audience and how you grow without living and dying on those changing algorithms.
Well, for me, you know, back in the day, it used to be Pinterest was my biggest traffic bringer. And it's shifted. It's especially shifted within the past year and a half since, I don't know what Pinterest did. They did something. So they're blue in the face, but we know. But now for me, it's mostly organic search traffic that brings people to my blog, which I think in the end is probably a more sustainable way of doing business. You know, Pinterest is still there. Pinterest is probably the best way to get traffic sent to me from a social media standpoint. Facebook is okay sometimes. You know, Instagram doesn't really do much, but that's just because that's not really what the platform is meant to do. And, you know, there's still Twitter, but, you know, I just use Twitter to go on rants and to yell at companies for their breaking products. So
when I'm delayed at airports, Twitter is awesome for me.
Yeah, I'm just
like, my luggage is lost.
Yeah, I'm like, excuse me, like, why? You said you would be here between the hours of 4 and 6, and it's 7 p.m. You know, so people say, like, does Twitter bring you tons of traffic? It's like, well, no, but that's not what Twitter does. Like, it's great for live tweeting The Bachelorette, but it's not great for bringing you in millions of views. So yeah, Pinterest is still there, and it's still a great source. I would never give up on it. I would never say, like, it's not worth my time. But I think working on getting that organic Google traffic is probably better than anything.
Yeah, that's always been my top source as well, Pinterest being second. And the others, even when I feel like I put in my maximum effort, have barely, like, you know, made a huge difference. So I feel like the organic traffic is definitely where my focus usually is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I can see Eric having some emoji reactions down there, but you're definitely making Eric Hochberger very happy. We are all about having that be your number one. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's emojiing. He thinks you guys are great. He loves you. That's what's happening. I can feel it. I have a sense of his like feelings, and that's what's happening. But he was saying that organic search traffic you know, is the most sustainable because you can't lose it based on somebody's algorithm shift. And you know that you have that. Oh, Jenny is saying that Twitter, see, he just gave me a thumbs up. I know him. I know you. Twitter brings traffic, Jenny says. She says she thinks it's about how you use it, and using something like Buffer to schedule content really helps. That's what she's saying.
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely schedule out content. Not so much anymore. Like, I tried. I think for some people, they've built a really big core audience on Twitter. And I think that I never really put the time into that, so I don't have that. The most people who follow me, it's because I don't do it as much anymore, but I used to live tweet The Bachelor and Bachelorette. So people would follow me for that, and then they'd be like, oh, you have a blog? And I'm like, so I kind of made an audience and a name for myself, not in the food world on Twitter. So I do think that there are people who probably get good chunks of traffic from it. that have taken the time to build that core audience. I also think back in the day, I used to be on Twitter all the time talking to people. It was like the Facebook Messenger of whatever. But to me, it's just not like that. But I think it's how much effort you want to put into whatever platform you choose. If you really like Twitter, put in a lot of effort. I'm not going to stop you. I like Instagram, but some people hate it.
You're not going to go into their homes and stop them from focusing on Twitter?
I mean, I will if necessary, but I might get...
In your house coat with your cat?
I don't even know. My house coat is so sexy.
I really wish I could, I feel like it's all teased now that I'm not able to see the house coat. It's unfair.
It's got pockets.
Oh, look, you just made Audra walk away. She didn't want anything to do with your house coat. Okay, so we are starting to run. Oh, hang on. Oh, Amber says she's pretty sure that that's how you and Brandy met, on Twitter. Brandy, you and Amber became BFFs on Twitter?
Probably. That's how I met, honestly, most of the bloggers that I've known for a long time. It was because of Twitter, because everybody was on there. That's how I've met so many of people that I'm friends with now for years. It was because back in the day, that's how we communicated, was Twitter. We weren't even really friends on Facebook, which is funny now because all bloggers are friends with other bloggers on Facebook. But back in the day, I remember the first time I became a friend with a blogger, and I was like, this is gonna be weird. Now they're gonna know the inner workings of my life.
Right. And now it's you're not friends with somebody if you are not Facebook official. You can't.
I know. And I'm always ooh, everyone's friends with everybody. I have so many friends. I have 900 friends.
What restaurant are they at? And if I don't know, I don't know them. It feels wrong.
So back in the day, Twitter was it. Twitter was how you got a hold of people, man.
True that. Okay, so we are running low on time, which makes me sad because I could sit here and talk to you guys for the rest of the day. But we would have to break out the adult beverages at some point. So this is what I'm going to do. We're going to close with this question. We have had so much fun with you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Next week, I have money bloggers on. I'm talking with Money Peach and Well Cut Wallet, which would be Deacon and Chris. Super excited. And then the week after that, we're talking about RPM with Amy Sugarman and Courtney Odell. So we've got some amazing stuff coming up and more things in the works as the Summer of Life continues. But this is what we're going to close out with Audrey and Brandy, who are golden girls, golden in our hearts, Dorothy's in the streets, Blanche in the sheets, all the things. So if you had a time machine, what would you tell yourself as a young blogger? What do you wish you'd done differently? What would you place more focus on? What would you tell yourself to stop worrying about?
I would just tell myself to not really worry about what other people were doing. I remember I went through a period of being extremely stressed about being called the baker chick and wanting to post savory recipes and feeling what do I do because I can't make desserts forever and I eat real food and now I have a kid and I have to cook for him and what do I do? And I got some advice. I met a different blogger at an event who I was speaking with, and she was like, just do whatever you want. Just post whatever you want to post about. You want to make a salad, make a salad. Who cares what your blog is called? And maybe people disagree with that, but then I kind of was like, why do I care so much about these little things? And I post what I want to, and no one has ever been upset, except for that one time when someone's like, is this going to become a motherhood blog? And I was like, no, it's not, I promise. But yeah, I would tell myself to just enjoy the cooking, be yourself and focus on what you love to do. And that will come through as authentic and people will be drawn to you because of that.
Well, I think the first thing I would tell myself is 2 years after I started blogging, I had this really big viral recipe and I didn't really care. I didn't even have ads on my website for the first 5 years. So I had insane traffic with no ads. I didn't care. And I was like, oh man, I should have if I could go back in time, I would have maybe worked on that a little bit. That would have been nice. Give myself a little, get some ads early, rake in some extra cash. But on a non-money thing.
No, money is fine. We talk about money at Mediavine. We can talk about money.
I think that of course, telling yourself not to stress, not to care so much. I mean, that's something that I deal with on a daily basis in any aspect of my life. Like, I care so much about what other people think about me. I'm always concerned that people are mad at me or upset or that people don't really like me. And sometimes I feel like I have to tell myself to like chill the hell out. You do you. I'm gonna do my thing. We're all gonna do our thing. It's not the end of the world if you and someone else post a recipe that's like almost the same. It's okay. My friends are just messaging me and causing all of this noise.
They think you're awesome. Whoa, friends, whoa. I think it's Lester, the cat.
No, it's Gina running to the kitchen who knows I'm doing this live and talking about how she's bored and wants to go to Trader Joe's.
Oh, Gina. Girl, give us a second.
Hold on. I'm muting her because
I'll add one thing while you're doing that, Brandy.
Yeah, please do.
What'd you say? We talked about this question, but maybe didn't actually get time for it today. But I think that there's a lot of pressure. There are a lot of trends and a lot of things that come up in blogging. And it's really easy to feel behind and feel like I'm not doing this thing and I should be doing this thing and everyone else is doing this and I'm the only one not doing it. And I felt that way about video for a while because, as I said, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I don't have any childcare. I have 2 small kids, but I still love blogging and it's still what I do. And I've been having a lot of guilt, feeling like this is what all the bloggers are doing. And I love video. I used to be a theater person. Like I want to be doing that. And it's just not something that I can do. And it's okay sometimes to just say, do what you can do. And that's okay. It's for me, it's like either I don't blog at all because I feel bad about not reaching a certain level that I want to, or I just accept that I am where I'm at where I'm at. And I still have loyal readers who read my posts and comment, and I'm still making money from my blog. It's not my family's sole income. And if it were, I'd probably have my kids in daycare and be doing it full time, but I'm proud of what I can accomplish. And I think it's important when you feel really sucked into all that stuff to just be okay, accept that you can't do everything,
Yeah, the pressure to do what everyone else is doing. I mean, and sometimes I give in just because I'm like, well, everyone else is doing it. I guess I'm gonna go jump off that bridge. Everyone else is. Like, they say it's how you get famous. No. And sure, I give in, and sometimes it's for a good thing. Like sometimes I realize like, oh, like I kind of like making videos. That's cool. I should have jumped on that earlier. But I do think you have to give yourself a hefty dose of I'm going to say the F word, so earmuffs if anyone doesn't want to hear it, but like just not giving any fucks about what other people think. It's so easy to get caught up in that. And again, I say that with, full disclosure, the fact that like I give so many fucks about so many things, and I go to therapy weekly to work on trying to give less. Like, I'm like, I cannot live a life where I'm constantly trying to be on top or getting jealous of other people, because it's super exhausting. It's super exhausting.
Mm-hmm. We have a meme in the marketing department. I'm not going to say the F word because, as we've said, my boss is listening, but there's a meme that we love, which is an old-timey farmer, like with a scythe, and he's harvesting wheat, and it's like, behold the field in which my F's are grown and it is barren. And we pass that around to ourselves all the time. Just like when we feel like we're giving way too many of them, we just need to like move on and just go to the field. Do what?
Send me that one in an email. I would like to have that.
You got it. I'll send it to all you guys. It's the best. We send it around and it's amazing. So I think that's a great way to end. Will you ladies come back and hang out with me this fall maybe? This is too much fun.
100%. We can have an extra long live. We'll drink. It'll be like a nighttime drinking.
Yes.
Because it will be fun.
Yeah. I want to eat, like, I only will do it if there is a lot of pumpkin and wine. So we'll do it like that.
Pumpkin and wine. Pumpkin, wine, apples, and just a shit ton of booze. I'll make
What about pumpkin wine? Wine. We'll call it that.
Have pumpkin everything or the world will explode.
It's so true. We're going to be so basic.
Pumpkin wine with our pumpkin booze, our pumpkin vodka.
On the side.
Perfect. Ladies, thank you so much for being amazing and spending time with me this afternoon. We love you at Mediavine. You make our hearts happy.
Thank you. We love you.
Okay, everybody, have a great summer and we'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.